Life is not easy. Stop being shocked every time it hits you with something you did not plan for. The bills, the setbacks, the arguments, the lonely nights, they are not a mistake in the system. They are part of the system. The sooner you stop expecting a smooth ride, the sooner you can start building the strength it actually takes to live this life. Many people are stuck because they are secretly waiting for life to shift into an easier mode. They think there is a version of life where nobody gets sick, nobody betrays you, nobody doubts you, and money shows up. Then every time something hard happens, they fall apart and say, "Why me?" But the question that moves you is not why me, it is what now? What can I do with this? Where do I go from here? Think about the people you call strong in your own life. The single parent who works 2 jobs and still shows up for the kids. The person who lost almost everything and slowly rebuilt piece by piece. They did not become strong by sitting in comfort. They became strong standing in the fire day after day, choosing not to fold when folding would have been easier. Social media has you looking at other people's highlights, so you think they got an easy run. You see the vacation, not the overtime. You see the new car, not the years of driving something that barely started. You see smiles and filters, and you tell yourself, they just have it easier than me. But you do not really know the battles they are fighting when the camera is off. When you finally accept that life is hard for everybody, something powerful happens. You stop taking the struggle so personally. You stop saying, "This means I am cursed," or "This means I am not good enough." Instead, you start saying, "This is normal, hard is normal, and if it is normal, then I can learn how to handle it." Acceptance does not mean you like it. It just means you stop wasting energy being surprised. From that place, you begin to move differently. You stop waiting for the right mood, the right season, the right sign, the perfect alignment of circumstances. You start using whatever today gives you, even when it is not ideal. Maybe you are tired. Maybe the money is short. Maybe the support is weak, but you still ask, what is one thing I can move forward today, no matter how small? And when you stop waiting for easy mode, another truth starts to come into focus. You start to see that there is no secret rescue coming down the road for you. There is no hidden level where somebody just shows up and fixes everything. That is when you are ready for the next hard truth you need to hear, which is that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. And as harsh as that sounds, it might be the most freeing thing you will ever understand. We grow up on movies where the hero gets discovered or some stranger steps in at the last minute and pulls them out of the struggle. In real life, if you sit there waiting for that moment, you will look up and realize 10 years slipped by while you were hoping someone else would change your life. That does not mean you will never get help. It means help is not the same as rescue. People can encourage you, open doors for you, give you advice, and maybe even lend you a hand when you are falling. But they cannot live your life for you. They cannot do your push-ups. They cannot heal what you refuse to face. They cannot build what you will not show up for. If you are always waiting on a boss to notice you, a partner to complete you, a friend to carry you, you will live your life on hold. You will say things like, when they finally see my value, then I will shine. When they finally apologize, then I will move on. Years pass and you are still sitting in the same emotional waiting room while your name never gets called. Understanding that nobody is coming to save you is painful at first because it feels like the last bit of comfort is being yanked away. Maybe you were holding on to the hope that if you explain your story well enough, if you cry hard enough, someone will show up and make it all right. When that does not happen, you feel abandoned. But buried inside that pain is the start of your power. Because once you know there is no rescue team on the way, you stop wasting time rehearsing your hurts for sympathy, and you start asking different questions. You start asking, what can I control? What can I learn? Who can I become? How can I build something new out of this? You stop begging people to show up, and you start showing up for yourself. This is where a shift happens from waiting to working. You move from, they should fix this for me, to, I will figure out how to fix this for myself. That is radical because it means you stop making your progress depend on somebody else finally doing the right thing. And that shift leads straight into the next chapter of your growth, which is learning how to take radical responsibility for your life. Radical responsibility means you stop living as if your life is just happening to you, and you start living as if you are a participant with real choices. It does not mean everything that happened to you is your fault. It means what you do next is your business, your move, your decision. It means you look at your situation and admit, maybe I did not cause all of this, but I'm still the one who has to decide what happens from here. For some people, the moment you mention responsibility, they hear blame. That is not what this is. Blame is about the past. Responsibility is about the present. Blame says this is all because of that person or that situation. Responsibility says, no matter what they did or did not do, I am still in charge of how I respond, of the standards I hold myself to now. Taking radical responsibility makes you look at parts of your life you might prefer to ignore. You might have been hurt deeply as a child, and that was not your doing. But now, as an adult, if you keep using that pain as the only explanation for why you hurt other people or sabotage yourself, you stay stuck. There is a difference between having a reason and choosing a pattern. When you take ownership, you start seeing your own role in your own cycles. You notice that you always quit around the same point. You notice that you run back to the same people who drain you. You notice that every time something feels uncomfortable, you escape into distractions. And instead of saying, well, that is just how I am, you start asking, what can I change about how I move? This is not about fixing your whole life in one giant step. It is about small, clear acts of ownership. Maybe it is as simple as saying, I am responsible for getting up when the alarm goes off. I am responsible for how I speak to people when I am stressed. I am responsible for how I spend my money, even if the paycheck is small. The more honest you get about what is in your hands, the more power you discover you actually have. It can feel heavy at first, carrying that level of responsibility. But if you stick with it, something beautiful happens. You stop feeling like a passenger being dragged through your own story, and you start feeling like a driver. And once you claim that wheel, all of your past pain does not have to just sit there as dead weight anymore. It can become fuel, it can become power. You have been through things that could have broken you already, yet somehow you are still standing. That pain you survived is not just a scar, it is also information. It shows you what you care about, what you can tolerate, and what you will never put up with again. If you choose it, your pain can turn into a compass that points you toward who you want to become. Turning pain into power starts when you stop pretending it did not hurt. A hero does not act as if nothing touches them. You do not have to erase the tears, the sleepless nights, the mornings you did not even want to get out of bed. You respect that it was heavy. You tell the truth about how it felt, at least to yourself, maybe to someone you trust, so that it stops rotting in silence and starts to heal. Then you ask, what did this teach me? And what am I going to do with it? The breakup might have shown you how low you set your standards. The loss might have shown you how precious time really is. The failure might have shown you where your skills were not ready yet. Instead of letting those moments just sit on your chest, you turn them into reasons to rise. Most people let pain harden their hearts. They decide nobody is trustworthy, nothing is worth trying, and hope is a scam. They build walls so high that nothing can get in, but nothing good can get out either. Using pain as power is different. It means you let the lesson in without letting the bitterness take over. You let what hurt you before shape how wisely you move now. Maybe your story will never be cute or simple, and that is all right. Some of the most powerful people you will ever meet carry heavy stories. They did not get to choose all of what happened to them, but they did get to choose how they would carry it. That choice is what gave them their depth, their compassion, their fight. And you can make the same choice. Your pain can be the reason you show up kinder or stronger, or more focused. It can be the reason you refuse to waste time, the reason you do not play around with your gifts anymore. And once you see that your pain can feed your power, you stop waiting for perfect conditions and learn to start with what you already have right here, right now. You may not have much, but you do have something. You might not have the money you want, the connections you want, or the time you want, but you have a body, a mind, a voice, a story, a day called today. Heroes do not wait until everything lines up before they move. They look at what is in their hands and ask, how can I use this? Starting with what you have means letting go of the fantasy that you need a completely different life before you can start changing your life. You think if I had more hours, then I would work out. If I had more money, then I would start that business. If I had more confidence, then I would speak up. But often, you do not lack resources as much as you lack the willingness to use what is already available. You might only have 15 free minutes in a day. That is still enough to read a few pages, to stretch, to brainstorm, to send 2 messages that could open a door. You might only have an old phone, but that phone can access information, can record content, and can connect you to people you would never otherwise meet. You might only have a tiny bit of extra cash, but that can buy a book, a course, or a tool that helps you build. When you start where you are, you will feel awkward. Your setup will not look like the polished versions you see online. You will be working out in your living room, learning business from free videos, and practicing skills after a long shift. People might not understand why you're doing so much with so little. That is all right. It is not their vision, it is yours. The excuses will sound so reasonable. You will tell yourself, this is not the right season. I am too tired. I will start when I feel more inspired. But every year you delay. The habit of delaying gets stronger, and the muscle of starting gets weaker. You break that pattern by starting even when it feels small and unimpressive. As you keep taking these little actions with what you have, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of lack and start seeing yourself as a creator. You realize that if you can move with a little, you will be unstoppable when you get more. And if you want that future version of you to be unstoppable, you have to learn a skill right now that separates dreamers from doers, the skill of discipline. Motivation comes and goes like the weather, but discipline is a decision you renew every day. You will not feel like doing the work most of the time. There will be mornings when your bed is louder than your goals. There will be nights when another episode, another scroll, another distraction seems so much easier than one more rep, one more chapter, one more phone call. Discipline is doing what you said you were going to do, long after the feeling that made you say it has faded. It is setting a standard for yourself and honoring it, even when nobody is watching, even when there is no applause. It is the difference between a wish and a commitment. A wish waits for a mood. A commitment shows up regardless of mood. When discipline is weak, life just happens to you. You react to whatever feels good in the moment. You eat what is in front of you, say whatever pops into your head, spend money because you are bored, and skip work because you are annoyed. Later, you look back confused about why nothing is changing. But your daily choices are already deciding your life. Building discipline does not mean turning into a machine. It means creating a few non-negotiables for yourself and sticking to them. Maybe it is, I move my body every day in some way. Maybe it is, I invest 30 minutes a day into learning. Maybe it is, but I do not talk to myself like trash. You start small, you keep it real, and you keep the promise. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Every time you break one, a little piece of trust in yourself erodes. Heroes are not born confident. They build confidence by repeatedly doing what they said they would do. Their belief in themselves is not imaginary. It is backed by evidence they created in their own life. Strong discipline is easier to build if you control the first part of your day, even a little bit. You cannot always control what happens later, but you can fight for your morning. And when you learn to win your mornings, you start stacking small wins that carry you through the day. instead of waking up already behind and already stressed. Winning the morning does not have to look like some fancy routine. It might simply mean you get out of bed when your alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze 5 times. It might mean you take 5 minutes with no phone, just you and your thoughts, or you and God before the world starts pulling at you. It might mean you make your bed. So the first thing you see is a little bit of order, not chaos. How you start your day sends a message to your mind about who is in charge. If you roll over, grab your phone, and let everyone else pour their noise into you before you even sit up, you begin your day on defense. You are reacting before you have even decided how you want to feel, how you want to move, what you need to focus on. A strong morning includes some kind of movement, even if it is simple. A stretch, a short walk, a set of push-ups beside the bed, whatever your body can handle. This is not about building the perfect physique overnight. It is about teaching your brain that we move, we do hard things, we take action, even when we are groggy or grumpy. Another piece is setting a small number of real priorities for the day. Not a dream list of 20 things that will only make you feel like a failure. Pick 2 or 3 things that truly matter and commit to knocking those out. When those get done, everything else is a bonus instead of living in constant guilt over what you did not do. If you have a rough morning, do not use that as an excuse to throw away the whole day. Your hero self is allowed to reset at noon, at 3 in the afternoon, and at 9 at night. But if you can protect even a slice of your morning consistently, you build momentum. And once you start building that momentum, you will start to notice something else that needs a serious reset. The people you let close to you. Look around at who you give your time and energy to. Your circle is either encouraging your growth or choking it. You know this already because you feel it. Some people leave you lighter, sharper, and more hopeful after you talk to them. Others leave you drained, doubting yourself, and ready to give up on everything you just decided to work for. If every conversation in your circle is complaining, gossiping, putting people down, or making fun of others, that environment is shaping you, whether you admit it or not. You cannot keep absorbing that energy and expect to stay hungry, focused, and brave. It is like trying to plant a garden in concrete and being confused when nothing grows. Cleaning up your circle does not mean you